presenter is Rhiannon Gascoigne. Rhiannon is primarily a mother of 6 children ages 7 to 18. She homeschooled for 10 years before she became a theater teacher in the Chilliwack School District. Her love of theater began with an early introduction to Shakespeare at the age of 9 and through Bard on the Beach's Young Shakespeareans program. She teaches in the Stormlight Theater at Chilliwack Secondary, where her theater company and other drama classes have already put on 4 shows this year. When she's not bashing around the theater, she is at home with her husband of 20-plus years, her 5 school-age kids, her poodle, 3 guinea pigs, 2 birds, and a betta called Bob. Rhiannon, please.
All right. Go. Where's that? Sorry, my voice is a little sore, so I'll do the best that I can here. There's my pal Shakespeare. I picked him to open this talk because I think we're in a kind of renaissance right now, technologically speaking at least. We're experiencing one giant creative leap, and it's changing everything about our human experience, including the arts. It's amazing and sometimes scary, but one thing I notice, especially in the classroom, is that all this technology has us oriented towards things like laptops and phones and apps instead of towards people. We've made a lot of creative leaps recently, but when we gain something with technology, we often also lose something else. When I walk through the halls of my school, I can't go anywhere without seeing kids and adults staring at their phones. And I think what we are losing is engagement with people in the real world. But I think maybe performance art can help. When I'm warming up my actors before a performance, I always ask them 2 very important questions. The first is, who is the most important person in this show? And they know the answer by heart, the audience. And who is the next most important, I ask? Each other. They reply. We never do a show without reciting this mantra because I believe that performance art done this way has the power to connect and inspire us in ways that no technology ever can. Theater resists the power of our technological renaissance because it cannot be copied and pasted or produced by AI. It is messy and imperfect collaborative work. There's always some measure of chaos and confusion in the theater, particularly when you work with kids, like props that go missing and actors forgetting a line and a flat that falls down. Like all handicrafts, every performance is a one-off treasure. No 2 performances are the same. It is ephemeral magic. And it's those real-world, chaotic, messy, ephemeral, and human moments that force us to look up from our screens and find each other in the real world. So my creative leap has been to use this ephemeral magic of theater to help my students turn their focus from their online worlds and towards serving others and connecting through food, memory, and story. So I'm going to start with food. Many of my students, and probably many of us, spend our meal times now interacting with screens and apps, not people. We are consuming, but not connecting. And those are my kids, by the way, and that was totally a contrived photo. We don't actually let them use phones at the table. So I figured our theater company could create an experience where people could connect over food. I've always wanted to do dinner theater, so in December, we did Michael Druce's Dinner at 8, Dead by 9. In this play, everything goes wrong, and nearly everyone is out for their own gain. The director, the chef, the innocent girl, murder for personal gain. This show had many challenges, but the biggest challenge was learning to be hosts for our audience in character without the teacher. Hospitality is one of the oldest ways in which we humans turn from ourselves and work for the benefit of others. So I figured if we can't be good hosts, then it matters very little whether we're good performers. And then there's memory. I have an unprecedented amount of information. We have an unprecedented amount of information at our fingertips, but with so much to learn, there is often so much to forget, particularly about our shared values and histories within diverse communities. In my theater company, several of my actors are immigrants from Ukraine who are still learning English. So in November, we produced a play I wrote about a largely forgotten part of our shared history, which is the internment of Ukrainian immigrants during the First World War by the Canadian government. The goal was to bring together the shared memories of Ukrainian and Canadian history. The play was written to honor the actors in my company, their families, and the values and identities of both our resilient and beautiful cultures. During the play, when the young Olga is overwhelmed by resentment for her imprisonment, her mother Anna reminds her that as long as she has hands and a heart to serve others, she always has a home. Finally, story. The internet, and especially maybe social media, has made it possible for nearly everyone to have a voice and a story that they can tell. So our first show this fall was planned to be a monologue night, but like much of the internet, it had the potential to be a dull series of self-involved stories, but we had a solution. One monologue stood out from the others. An offbeat character whose preference for cats turned into a rant about the coldness of the world and how people are too focused on themselves to think about nature or animals or the environment or those starving in other countries. And we decided her monologue was a metaphor for the whole play and like maybe society itself. We portrayed her as a homeless woman in the park, talking first to herself and then to the audience. The characters moved in and out of the park, talking on the phone, consumed with their own stories and lives, and the meaning of her monologue became more apparent. The final character, a girl who had lost a beloved elderly neighbor, ended by noticing the homeless lady in the park. She paused and gave her a smile, and for a moment there was hope and connection. We wanted to remind the audience that what really matters is to turn from ourselves, to notice, and to serve others. Theater is magical not because it's innovative, it's magical because it's something made by simple folk with bare hands that serve humbly and turn themselves towards others. And I'm teaching my students to make this bare hands humble art because while it may only brighten the world for a moment, like lightning leaping out of dark clouds, when that art is an act of love, it creates a whole world, and the sound of it echoes in the hearts of our audience. Thank you.